Good evening. The time is now 7:04, and the board will reconvene into open session. I will now entertain a motion for interdistrict transfers 1 through 12.
I move to approve interdistrict transfers 1 through 12.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. At this time, that is all we have from closed session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now go ahead and move on to public comment. We have Jasmine Duncan.
Good evening. I'm here today to encourage each board member to continue thinking independently and asking questions. The strongest boards are not made up of people who always agree. They are made up of people who are willing to listen, do their own research, consider different viewpoints, and make decisions based on what they believe is best for students, staff, and the community. Another concern I have is the tone of some of the public conversations I have seen recently. When elected officials make negative comments about members of our community, especially when those comments involve the family members of district employees, it can create division and make people question whether everyone is being treated fairly and respectfully. I hope all elected officials will remain open-minded and remember that reasonable people can have different perspectives while still caring deeply about our community. I also think it is important that we stick to the facts even when we disagree. Recently, it was suggested that it was fake news that a notice of intention to circulate a recall petition had been served to the board president. Whether someone supported the recall effort or opposed it is beside the point. The notice was, in fact, served publicly at February's board meeting in front of the board and those in attendance. The reason the recall effort did not move forward was because I chose not to make corrections requested by the elections department after learning that the cost of a recall election would ultimately be borne by our district and taxpayers. We do not all have to agree, but we should be able to have honest conversations based on facts. Our community deserves that. Lastly, I agree with the recent encouragement for more people to get involved and consider running for the school board. We have seats coming up for election, and I think it is healthy for any organization to welcome new perspectives and fresh ideas. We need people who are willing to ask questions, verify information for themselves, and make thoughtful decisions on behalf of our students and community. At the end of the day, I think everyone in this room wants the same thing: a strong district, great employees, engaged families, and the best opportunities possible for our children. Please remember that I am here as a concerned parent and community member. My intention is not to create conflict, but to encourage transparency, accountability, and thoughtful decision-making as we move forward together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there any other members in the audience wishing to speak on today's public comment? Having no further public comment, we'll go ahead and close public comment, and we will move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, good evening. Well, it's my final report for all of you. I waited till June to start using final or last, but it's certainly been very busy. I think many of you have been involved in many of the end of the year activities we had, so thank you for those of you, and those of you that weren't. I know that you were in jobs that didn't allow you to get away, because you've certainly shown us throughout each year that you've been on the board that our district events do matter. So we've had our park days, our pool days, our movie days, our accelerated reader parties, track and field days, promotions, staff appreciation events, celebrations. So many, many things crammed into those final 10 days or so of school. Also at the end of the year, our teacher leaders met with our instructional coaches and with our directors to begin planning for next year. So continuing with our intention of our teachers guiding the way for what we're going to be doing instructionally now and into the future. So they had a very productive meeting and got a great jump on planning for 26, 27. Our recruitment is continuing to go very, very well. We have one remaining position that's the result of vacancies as people move into other positions. So we have some wonderful candidates. So we have no reason to think that we won't be fully staffed here even before the end of this month. I will be heading off on Thursday, so I'll let you know how it goes. But I've talked to you about the First Five's effort to bring the Dolly Parton Imagination Library to Monterey County. And from what I've received, it looks like they've received all the funding needed to get it going and get it started. And they're having a kickoff event on Thursday morning. So I will be going to attend that event and then come back and know what we need to do to share with families and to share with our Student, Family, and Community Services Department so that they can keep that going next year. TK and Kinder registration continues. This year it's TK that's booming. So with TK, we currently have 137 students registered for next year. And this time last year we had 128. So TK, we knew that over time that would keep growing. So we're glad to hear that. And we're currently fully staffed at TK for next year. With Kinder, we have 220 students registered currently for Kinder. This time last year, we had 233. So we're a little behind on that one, watching closely to make sure we don't need to make any staffing changes in regards to TK and K. Last week, I started some pretty deep final goodbyes. I sat several months ago once I decided to make the choice again, that choice to retire that I talked about 4 years ago. And this year, seeing that, that was the choice that was right for my family and I, was for me to retire at the end of this year. And I tried to figure out how in the world do I let everyone know how grateful I am for what we've done and the opportunities we've had and that I've had. And so I thought, I'm a little old-fashioned, and a handwritten note always means a lot to me. I wonder if it might mean a lot to our staff. So I started in March writing notes. And this past Monday, not yesterday, but last week, I was able to deliver those throughout the district. So 400 letters of gratitude later to all of our staff. And I think it sent the message. I heard lots of people that were very pleased that apparently stout in our community and in society, handwritten notes still matter. I have yours here, so before you leave tonight, you're a part of that as well. But it was wonderful to have to find a way to thank our staff. We have 380 staff members, and then between our educational partners and different agencies that we work with, so we have 400 adults that are impacting the lives of our students in everything that we do. My final plea before I switch up here, as I do every month, Citizen Bond Oversight Committee. Joni is still looking for people to join that committee. So if you're not a member of the district, an employee of the district, please go to the website and look at how you can be a part of the Bond Oversight Committee. So my final piece tonight, something else that I shared with the staff last week, and I will share that email with you as well, was I highlighted all the things that, thanks to those 400 people, we've been able to do in the past 4 years. And there is a lot that we have to celebrate, and a lot that could not have been accomplished without your support and approval, and about the work and the dedication of our employees. So Sean, if you go ahead and just, we're not reading all of these, it's just a visual for you, but it's broken down by our different departments and all the different things that we were a part of for the past 4 years, and my catchphrase of igniting the potential. So of course our dual language immersion program, but ending with the Bright Futures recognition was a big one this year that really celebrated so many of the things that we've been able to do. If you remember the federal programming monitoring review, which is not exciting for any of us, but the zero findings, again, the effort of all our staff. On the next screen, in our student, family, and community services, the parent community engagement, again, if it weren't for all of our staff that's played such a large part in that, but we've all seen the impact that that's making and will continue to make. Our inter-district transfers into our district have grown over our 4 years, so that's very exciting, and our chronic absenteeism has dropped dramatically. On the next slide, in our special education department, We are now going to go into 3 consecutive years of starting fully staffed from day 1 of the school year, and increasing our staffing so that we can do a better job of meeting the needs by having smaller class sizes. And that's not to say we weren't doing a good job, but it's to continuously improve and do an even better job. And our next slide, our nutrition team, I just found out they just served 900 meals today. So they never stop. The fresh fruit and vegetable grant, the fast scratch meals that have been added in our business services, again, no audit findings. The work of our business team needs to be recognized. Passing 2 more bonds, huge dramatic shift in our insurance coverage. On the next slide. Within MOTF and IT, so many things that happen, things behind the scenes that make things run that we don't really know about. And then the forward-facing things, we keep coming back to construction at KCAM because it was finished on time and essentially on budget, which is huge. So as we get ready to hear more about Santa Lucia and even some CPMS plans tonight, we're very excited about where that's going with the future. With IT, we got those cameras in place and our vape sensors and our Raptor sign-in system. So just as a few things, again, this isn't everything, but it's definitely some highlights. Next slide. In HR, teacher recruitment, we had 30 new hires 4 years ago. We're looking at 11 for next year. So dramatic changes in our staff retention. And we've heard a few meetings ago, it's not just because she's in the room, but Jackie was recognized for a couple of meetings ago. And one of the things we've added 3 or 4 years ago was that position to support our new teachers. And that's part of what really speaks to is the effort and the time that we're putting into our new staff so that they want to stay here and they feel supported. In our governance, I don't know if you remember when the logo was up there, I think that was about 4 years ago that you wrote your new handbook, revised your mission, your vision, your belief statements, came up with a new logo. 2 years ago, we started having some orientation sessions. I know that Tony attended, so that we could start trying to recruit for our new board members. Next slide. Within our bargaining units, we've added so many positions to keep growing our team and be able to provide the programs that we provide, and then as well as on our compensation side. Okay. Next slide. And then finally, the pieces that made it so hard to make the decision to retire now versus a few years down the road is there's a saying of planting trees of which the shade you will never sit in. And so these were just a few of the things that as a team, we've laid the foundation, we've planted those seeds. They're to come. Some will come as soon as next year. Some will come in the next few years, but more great things that are on the horizon that our team is going to be able to keep expanding programs, and continuously improving programs. So I just wanted to share all that with you because we've shared it with the staff. We've had conversations around it. So I thank you, Sean. I thank you for 4 years, and I'm still in the community, still a citizen. I still plan to be around and be involved, and citizen bond, I could get on that bond committee. You're right, Vina, I could. But no, but that's right. You didn't think of that. But will forever be grateful for the opportunity to not only return and start my teaching career in my hometown, raise my children in my hometown, but retire as the superintendent, not something that I ever planned on doing when I started my career. And even 4 years ago, when those of you that were on the board talked to me about it. And as I said then, it wasn't something I needed to feel fulfilled in my career, but it was something I was certainly willing to do for my district and my community. And I hope that I served my district well. And I hope that people have wonderful and fond memories. So thank you. The SRO, correct. He was not up there and he should be. Correct, Oh, yes, and that with superintendent support. Thank you. He just told me that last week at promotion. Catch me at promotion, the chances of it sticking really long-term. So correct, our SRO that we've been so thrilled with this year, Officer Cody Hughes, he also, is it public? He will not be our SRO next year. I do not know of the reason why is public, so that's why I'm not saying it. But we will continue to have our SRO program. We're not eliminating our program. We just know that we'll have a new SRO. Thank you for reminding me of that to add to my report.
Any questions, comments, statements? The board or audience? No? Thank you, Jennifer. We'll go ahead and move on to reports from administrators. Is there any comments, questions, feedback from the audience or the board to any of the administrators here and or regarding the report submitted?
Just really quick on my behalf for Del Rey and CPMS, congratulations on your reclassifications. Where is Del Rey? Sorry. Well, scratch that. I didn't say that. Just kidding. No, so 43 reclassifications, 55 for CPMS. So congrats on that. It's unfortunate, though, that we received the notice that our music candidate did not accept the position. And we're still in hunt for that. So if any of you have any family, friends who are willing to, this is crucial. And it's just unfortunate we have not been able to get somebody to fill this role. So we'll see what the new year brings. But again, congratulations on those reclassifications of the kids. So.
And I don't see Ms. Ponteleon here, but, oh, yes, that's correct. No, I was just gonna say, again, also touching on the reclassification numbers and just excited about what that's gonna look like next year because, you know, the expectation is once you reach and you show the capability, you continue to grow and reach, you know, further up. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna look for next year. And then I just wanted to clarification. So all our DLI positions are filled. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you for that. Ida, for you and your team, I just wanted to reach out and say thank you so much for all of the food service that you provided for like the staff appreciation and for a lot of the other celebrations that happen throughout the district. You guys do a phenomenal job all year round and just being able to also manage these other bigger tasks because they're not small, you know, they're big and you guys did an amazing job. So thank you so much for that. And then for also for your Champion of Excellence Award for your team. So thank you so much for everything. And let's see. So again, for clarification on SPED, with the exception, we're looking at starting 3 years, right? With full staffed. That goes also with our para educators and all supportive staff. Awesome. Okay. And yep, that's it. Audra, I look forward to the changes that are coming for the LCAP and the more of alignment that's I know the work that's going behind it from yeah, I know the work that's going behind it to clean it up and to align it more to our district and our goals. So thank you for that. And I look forward to being able to touch on that in this upcoming school year. That's all for me. Is there any other comments, questions, or feedback? Okay. Then we will go ahead and we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there any items that anyone would like to have pulled and discussed separately? I know that we did mention, Tony, you weren't here for the last meeting, but there is an item that we do have under this for amendment, and I think it's number 20. It's for the youth project. So that was something that was brought up at the last meeting, and it was just to make an amendment to increase services. So is there any items that anyone would like to have pulled and discussed separately? If not, I will entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be put up on the screen, but I did want to touch the fact that there was no, as part of the amendment, there was no ask of an extra fee or anything like that associated with it. So increasing numbers from, what was the total numbers? 380.
You got, pull it. Yeah.
Okay, Cinda. We'll go ahead and pull 20.
So we'll go ahead and pull 20. 20 pulled. I will now entertain a motion for the remainder of the consent agenda with the item 20 being pulled for discussion and voting separation.
I move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of number 20 being pulled.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's all the other ones but 20.
So again, I just wanted
But are you
clarification on
gonna-
the numbers.
Are you gonna approve the other or no? Because we're in the middle of.
Approved, sorry, yes, approved.
Okay, so aye. Now we'll go ahead and move on.
Yeah, sorry. So I just wanted to get clarification on the numbers in regards to what did we start with in the program and then versus, I know it's going up to 400, but what was the
Yeah,
start? Thank you.
the starting number was 275.
Okay.
And so this is for 400, so it's an extra 125. And the impact isn't on the amendment, but I just used the per student number to figure out on the cover sheet, I have 254,375. And that's the fiscal impact. So it's just this 254,375, and that's the 55 per student per day.
Do you know what the enrollment currently is at for all programs?
We were 400 as of today, is that correct? Oh, for all programs?
So we'll say that it's about 400.
We have 400 for the youth project.
We have about 400 students for the youth project. We're at 54 for first tee. We are at about 175 for pro youth. For pro youth. And at summer school, we have,
We had additions today. So
Well, yeah,
we can get you the summer school numbers because we had kids. Today was the first day for our summer school and we had kids add, so we don't.
yeah, we have a lot of school, students that were added today, both at CPMS and at San Lucia. And so with both of those, it's well over 100 students.
How has summer school been, how has the summer programs been going so far? I know it's day two. Yes.
As would be expected for, days 1 and 2. So day 1 for King City, so Patty and Angel got the brunt of those for our actual teacher-led clubs. I got to visit the youth project today, and everything was very smooth. We went to first tee, again, very smooth. They had a great drop-off yesterday. And then pro youth is going well as well. So, but,
We learned a lot from last year. Being that it was my first year, it was my, maybe 10 days into my position that I had to do summer school. So we worked a lot of, getting kids in, getting them fed, getting them to their classrooms, and just restructuring a whole lot of stuff. Same thing with a lot of our other programs. 2 days, we did notice that, on the first day they had X amount of students, and I think they had a bigger attendance. Same thing, we figured something out, how to feed them. We were able to get food service numbers. We're working out a lot of stuff that maybe didn't go well last year. We improved on this year, and it wasn't as chaotic. I went around to a lot of the teachers at San Lucia, and I asked them, "Oh, how do you like the way we did things this morning?" And they're like, "Oh, it wasn't as chaotic as it was maybe last year," or "We like that we have
few more bodies in the classroom, so we're able to have more one-on-one or be able to have smaller groups to be able to do things. And so I think it actually went fairly well with a little bit of chaos.
And again, food service, thank you. They're feeding all of our kids. And that's one of the things that we did realize is a 10-hour program of kids being incredibly active is going to require a little more food. So we're trying to figure out how to get them more than just the normal snacks that we would give them.
And so I'm all up for the after school world. That is my world. So I'm all up for all these programs. I do have a question. So it might be for the youth project, more so. Today I picked up somebody that was attending youth project. 400 kids, it doesn't seem a little too high for your guys' first year? I know that today, for example, like the pickup, that was like about a 20-minute wait in that line to be able to pick up. So 400 kids in the expo, is that doable? Or are we looking for something
Well,
to be able to accommodate those numbers?
Let me just make one correction. It's 300 students or a little less than that, but they're looking to expand to 400.
So yeah, we have enrollment and then we have the kids that show up daily. So if we have 400 kids enrolled, they may come 2 days a week, they may come 3 days a week, they may come 4 days a week. So I think we had 300,
About
how many today?
Today, 335.
335. So, and they divide them up. So they're
Yeah.
not all
Yeah.
together. They're not all just in the expo center. They're in groups. So,
So I know that they get divided up once they get there, but I know for pickup, they're all in the expo within like their little groups.
So what I would say with the time is we've gone to the extreme in regards to kid safety. So we're using an electronic system to check in and check out. And that is, yesterday our average wait time was about 10 minutes. So it's not as chaotic, it's pretty organized. We don't have all of the kids in one spot at one time. Having 400 kids is not something that we're worried about at the moment.
Yeah, more than anything, that was just the only concern that I had, just because, like I said, I saw the drop off. I went with, to drop her off and pick her up. So it was just that, having a brand new program, with so many, we want to set you guys up for success rather than.
I would also I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but this is the first year for the youth project, but this is the third year that we've run this program. So we have a lot of experience running the program. And with that experience, we've made a lot of corrections, like Patty has said too. Working with Patty last year and food services does an amazing job. Food services last year, there was a learning curve. This year, they've been on time with the food and it hasn't caused any delays. Last year, worked out some kinks with that. There was kinks to be worked out as we went through year 1, year 2, and now in year 3. The biggest kink for us to work out is with that amount of kids, kid safety is paramount, right? And that's why we've taken the extra measures as far as having our own system that checks kids in and checks kids out. It goes as far as, the parents can set up a PIN number before the kid can get released, right?
And I think that's awesome, because
Yeah.
you eliminate the whole sign in, sign out sheet. I think
And the learning curve, honestly, is more on the parent side. We need some understanding from the parents to understand that this is for the kid's safety, that you can't just come grab your kid. You've got to go through the process, right? So, yeah.
No, yeah, and I like, actually, I'm more of a tech person, so that's why when I saw that, I thought that was a cool. So, and more like anything, that was just my only question. Again, setting you guys up for success
Yeah.
rather than we have so many programs and then just one, saturate it. We don't want to burn out, that bridge.
We did plan to go this high, but I can't tell you that we expected it. We planned for it, but I think that overwhelmingly we've been the beneficiaries of great community support. And I think that the staff that we've hired and the experience that they've had has brought that community support with us. So we've planned for this. I'd be 100% lying to you if I said that I really expected it. Again, we're the beneficiaries of great community support and parents that really want to get in this program.
So, really quick, I mean, if you want to stay up, because you might have some answers to some questions as well. Sorry about that.
Those were Tony's questions.
But, so, yeah, he won't be back and forth. But, touching into that note, it's the beginning of this program in itself, the youth project, right? So there are going to be some hiccups in the beginning. As we are very aware, there's a lot of times where parents, when it comes to consent forms and et cetera, they'll just sign away. It's like, where do I need to sign, son? Just got it. Okay, sign. And you're off on that. But is there any plans, because these are the beginning stages, for you all to have like a parent meeting? And that way everybody's in the understandings, like, look, I know you probably might be experiencing, a heavy wait time. We need to talk about are the safety concerns with our kids. Like there's just for everybody, again, because all you do typically, as a mom, I'll say that there's times where you just sign forms, especially in some high schoolers. It's just like, just here, so it's just having them fully understand, having these parent engagement meetings after the fact, or during pickup time. It's like, we're going to be, trying to speak to and why we're doing certain things and in a certain manner, and kind of it opens up, their minds more on why things are done the way they are. And I completely understand that. I totally agree with that being done for their safety. But that way you won't have also too many parents a little bit like upset because they're already tired coming from work and I'm here waiting until this all happens. And it's just, as a whole, what this program, again, is all about, and safety of our kids. So I wasn't sure if that was part of the plan.
A couple of things to your point. The app that we got in the program and software we use is called Kid Check. We were overwhelmingly surprised with the cooperation we got from parents leading up to it. We only had 5 to 10 parents who didn't download the app prior to check-in on first day yesterday. And then with that, there's a couple of parents I see in here now. I'm sure that they've gotten a communication last night they got to. And then we've got a staff meeting. We postponed it a little bit so that we could be present here today. But we do have a staff meeting to recoup to go over today, and we will be sending communications out. The app has been great because it allows us to send text messages directly via the app to the parents. And, we've got daily communications that are going out to those parents. So yeah, thank you for that. But we 100% agree with that. I mean, the more we want to over communicate and we've got a lot of moving parts as far as, field trips and swim lessons that are getting done for the kids, that we want to make sure the parents are in the communication. They know what's going on.
Is there any other questions, comments, or statements from either the board and or audience? If not, I'll bring it back to the board for approval of consent item 20.
I move to approve consent agenda item 20.
I second.
Bless you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to information. Item A, facilities plan.
I'd like to invite Carrie Colley to the podium. She is going to be giving the board an update of our current project that we are planning and potential future projects. Carrie is with Pear Tree and Belly, who are our architects.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Carrie Colley, as Joni mentioned, with Pear Tree and Belly Architects. We are based out of Salinas and happy to serve your district. So we have a kind of a general update for a little bit of the planning and design process that we've been working on. This is specifically for Santa Lucia Elementary School. The next big project coming down the line is the new TK kindergarten and also preschool early education development. So just kind of a brief overview. On the left-hand side, you'll see a demo plan. We are focusing the main upgrades in the southwest corner of the campus. We are proposing to demolish 4 of your oldest relocatable classrooms, as well as 2 permanent buildings, the far left being the existing preschool facility, which is an older residential style home, not compliant in many ways. And then the kind of geometric shaped building that currently serves your TK, that is also slated to go away as well. And that entire kind of all the site work, that will essentially get clean slated. We will be removing a total of 8 existing classrooms. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see a proposed plan, removing 8 classrooms, coming back with 10 new construction, fully compliant classrooms. 2 of those classrooms will serve the preschool and early education department, and the other 8 will be for TK and kinder specifically. We will be incorporating 2 new playgrounds. So preschool will have a dedicated playground with play structure as well as shade structure. And then TK Kinder will have the same thing. So their own dedicated size appropriate play structure and shade structure as well. We are also showing there will be a brand new dedicated staff only parking lot that will be behind access controlled fencing and gates. So parents, community traffic will not have access to that. It will be staff only. And it will accommodate roughly 34 parking spaces. So would alleviate congestion in the neighborhoods on Collins Street, hopefully solve, a big problem. So that's definitely an added benefit. I would also like to point out that we will be developing a dedicated food service direct access. The way it operates now is delivery trucks actually access onto the campus. They're driving, maneuvering between classroom buildings to get to the cafeteria building. And with this new design, we will have a new direct access right off of Collins Street. So we'll be working with the city for an encroachment permit because we're going to carve in a brand new driveway curb cut. And that would allow direct access right to the back of the existing cafeteria building. And we will also provide a new freezer unit and refrigerator unit for storage immediately behind the cafeteria building. In addition to the TK kind of compound, as I refer to it, we are also working on campus-wide fire alarm upgrades. So making sure that those are new and fully compliant, as well as campus-wide perimeter fencing and gates. I know that there is a lack of that currently. They have some temporary fencing in place, but as part of this overall project, we will be taking everything to DSA, the state architect, and providing new and improved facilities for Santa Lucia Elementary School. Go to the next slide. So here's a pretty picture. Again, we're kind of in the schematic design level. These building types will be essentially the same buildings that were recently constructed at KCAM facility, but we will be doing something very similar for Santa Lucia. And then if you go to the next slide, and then zooming out, so this is just kind of a bird's eye view. If you can imagine, again, kind of that's the southwest corner off of Collins Street. There's a driveway entrance, and that will be the new staff-only parking lot with some beautiful solar canopies to provide shaded parking and reap all the energy benefits. And then the back left-hand side, that would be the dedicated preschool, early education. And then the 2 buildings that kind of parallel each other, those would be the dedicated TK and kinder. Another thing I would like to just point out, safety improvements, things that we're mindful of when we're thinking about this from a design standpoint, is everything is inward facing. So when cars drive by, people walk by the school, things are very visible right now. I know that there's low fencing to the kindergarten TK yard. That would all be essentially inside the campus, behind the buildings. So a much more protected, guarded from a visibility standpoint from the public way. Questions, comments?
Question.
Yes.
What is the possibility of saving a couple of trees that have several years in that location?
That is not on our list of priorities. Our understanding is that the root systems, very aged, old root systems, can be quite invasive from a maintenance and facilities standpoint. We will be, as part of a Cal Green, again, California energy efficiency requirements, we will be planting back new shade trees. It's part of a requirement for playgrounds. You have to provide natural shading. But where the existing trees are currently located, not currently a workaround for our current design that's being proposed.
You tried, Mike? Everybody has to go take pictures at our,
One of the
old
challenges with that is they are old and they are, I mean, I can say that because I'm old. But they're actually becoming a hazard because we're getting a lot of branches that are failing and falling down, at least around the early ed center. And that's one of the reasons why we had to remove the ones out in the front, because we had a similar situation happen with those. I mean, I had a screwdriver and I could put it in 3/4 of the way, so it was safer to remove them. But that being said, we will be planting new trees and we will select a good location for those trees so that the roots won't grow under the foundations.
I'm sold on the parking. Did we ever, I'm assuming that's, what is that, California Water's property? The one that's in?
Yes, that is correct. So if you notice a kind of an odd blank
Yeah.
lot right off of Collins Street, so that currently is a Cal Water property that, to my understanding, is remaining theirs for the time being.
I know we have, it was brought up for discussion. Oh, okay, so nothing ever moved.
Still ongoing.
It's stalled. Okay. That would add more parking.
Mhm.
Actually, it'd be a bus turnaround. Drop off zone.
Any other questions regarding Santa Lucia?
Just, so for the cafeteria, the only maintenance that we're doing there is the freezer, the cooling system?
There'll also be electrical upgrades because of the fact that we're adding more stuff there. So there will be some electrical upgrades which will assist us in being able to do the type of food service that we're trying to do now with all the fresh cooking and everything. So hopefully that'll boost it up to where we can add a few things appliance-wise inside to enhance our program there.
We're also looking at refurbishing it a little. If we go into a complete remodel, it would delay this project, and we really need these TK classrooms. So we're doing what we can do to incorporate it in this without causing more red tape. So we're looking at a refurbish of like the floors, and like John said, what can we do to increase the wattage so that we can actually use the utilities to add some more scratch cooking. But that, what Carrie mentioned about the additional walk-in storage is huge, because then we'll be able to expand the fresh produce that we don't have the room for right now, right? So that's key.
I agree, and just wanted to get more depth about it, but there's gonna be more to come, so, thank you. No, I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
here, if we go back to the blueprint.
Go back to
John, if we
slides.
go back to the blueprint. So that whole thing is what you're highlighting here.
On the right-hand side.
Kind of the shaded, the
Yeah,
lower
that's right. That
left-hand
part is
corner.
only, okay.
There you go.
Ah,
There it is.
thank you. Whoa. on that?
And
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the question specifically?
See, it's on this side.
She just wanted to see it
Yeah.
this way.
Just because
No,
with
my-
the image, it kind of showed like if it was covering like the rest of the playground and like where's everything else, but it's like, no, I think it's just.
But
was a
it is
blown
taking
up picture,
over
basically.
where we used to play kickball. When I was a kid, that's what I mean. I was,
Terry, if you can picture the wing that has classroom 5 through 8, the permanent wing, basically it's going to run out all the way parallel with that. It will encroach just slightly on the playground from where that wing lines up. So it's not taking up too much of our play area, but it will be taking up some.
And we need parking. I know. There's parking. And then I know we've had issues in regards to the fencing in the backside of that area, especially with residents and all that. So hopefully we won't reach too much of a,
That is included. We will
That's
cover the
included.
entire perimeter of the campus, including backing up to the residents. Because I understand there've been some makeshift gates for access and creative things that have
yes, very
occurred. Yes.
creative.
So part of the perimeter fencing plan is also because the Outback is on Santa Lucia property. We will also be doing perimeter fencing around the Outback area. So that will be
Mhm.
improved. And it will include the line from Collins all the way to King Street along the housing.
Any other questions or comments from, no, never mind, just kidding. I was checking with the audience.
Shall we move on to CPMS? Okay. Okay. All right, so we have also been doing some kind of high level, we refer to that as master planning. So not down in the design details, nitty gritty, but thinking high level for Shalom Peaks Middle School. Looking at the campus as a whole, and we're working with Joni and John, as well as Miss Reed, the principal, to understand where the needs currently are for this campus. And this is very much stemming from the district-wide master plan. So a lot of these ideas are concurrent or, in line with what we identified in the master plan that was done back in 2023, 24, something along those lines. Yes, just updated last year. So if you notice the beautiful color highlights, the items highlighted in blue would indicate playground upgrades or athletics, fields, outdoor items. The pink or magenta highlights would indicate potential brand new facilities, so new construction. And then we have one little item, and I'll get into the details, highlighted in purple, and that would be a modernization. So starting with the blue items. So the playground upgrades identified are a new soccer field and rubber track. This could potentially be a synthetic turf with a rubberized track. That would also include kind of the large blue blob in the middle, if you will. That could be extended asphalt pavement. So something unique about this campus is that there is naturally occurring asbestos, if you're familiar with that. So being able to encapsulate or permanently cover some of the raw field areas, that's a benefit. Of course, it comes with a cost. And we'll get into briefly, we did do an associated cost estimate. So the district has an idea of potentially how much these projects could cost. So for planning purposes, you know what to expect. But the synthetic turf, soccer field and rubberized track, as well as that expanded asphalt area, that would fully encapsulate the naturally occurring asbestos. And we've accounted for a potential shade structure. So if you're hosting, track and field events, there could be a dedicated shaded area, perfect for picnic tables, benches, etc. We've also identified a need for a softball and baseball field. Did a quick study. Technically, you can fit both. So you can have the best of both worlds. You see kind of the opposing layouts there. And then potentially looking at expanding your asphalt area to accommodate roughly 3 new outdoor basketball courts. The need for the 3 additional basketball courts would stem from the idea, we're going to shift and look at the areas in purple, or I'm sorry, pink, magenta, if you will. So potentially looking at 3 new buildings on this site. The first one being the lower kind of magenta rectangle towards the bottom of the page. That could be a potential location for a new gymnasium. So middle school level, it'd be great to have a gymnasium, obviously for athletics, using that for PE, indoor PE opportunities as well. The need is definitely there. We've studied a general layout. It would have the large open gymnasium as well as student locker rooms for changing in and out for PE classes, and potentially having a set of restrooms at the front that would be dedicated for community, parents, visitors. When they're hosting an athletic event, they could have restrooms located in the front of the building that would be separate from student restrooms. That would be obviously student only on the back end where the locker rooms would be. The second potential new construction building would be a new administration building. So that's kind of centered, it's labeled as building A new admin building. The admin building they are currently operating out of is a modular or portable construction building type. So those don't last forever. They last longer than we plan to utilize them, but they're not quote unquote permanent. So the need for new admin and new offices, new pull-out spaces has definitely been identified, and we've accounted for space on site for that. And then the third building in magenta, kind of further up on the page, building C, would be a potential new SPED classroom building. So dedicated to the special education program, accommodating up to 6 classrooms, as well as student and staff restrooms within that classroom wing. And last but certainly not least, so the little purple highlight that's in the NPR building, that is calling out the need for a commercial kitchen modernization. So again, I know the district is really pushing to include scratch cooking. That would cover a modernization to get all the appropriate appliances, infrastructure needed to make that happen. Okay, so if we go to the next slide, please. So I won't go line by line and bore you all, but we have gone through the cost estimating exercise. Again, the color coding matches the color highlights that we just referred to on the site plan. New facilities or new buildings, again, we were looking at a potential gymnasium building, including locker rooms and restrooms, a new SPED facility with restrooms, and a new admin building. We have done rough quantity unit calculations. So based on the current square footages that we are guesstimating and accounting for, we have provided you with a base cost, and then also included contractor markups, which are pretty significant. We've accounted for a 30% markup, and then soft costs and contingencies at an additional 35% markup. Your soft costs is all your design and engineering that pays me, your permitting fees, your inspections, kind of all the coordination that goes into designing and constructing a project. And then we've given you a total cost. So just roughly speaking here, the potential new gymnasium building, all in, you're looking at upwards of $19.1 million. New sped classroom wing, again, that would be roughly 6 classrooms plus student and staff restrooms. That could be upwards of 10.7 million. And potential new admin building, roughly 7 million. Again, this is kind of high level just for planning purposes. The need has been identified, and having a realistic gauge on what these potential buildings would cost can maybe help the district prioritize. The modernization for the commercial kitchen, the purple line item, again, modernizing the current facility, but getting all the new infrastructure, gas, electric utilities, upgraded appliances could be upwards of $830,000. And lastly, looking at the blue items, which were the outdoor playground or field upgrades, a new rubberized track with synthetic turf soccer field, all in, looking at roughly 2.9 million. Sorry. If we were to extend the asphalt at the track, this is all based on square footage calculations, roughly 690,000. New shade structure, something roughly the size of 20 feet by 40 feet. That could be upwards of $175,000 for a shade structure. New baseball field. This would include like backstop, putting in your infield, the bases, kind of the infrastructure for that groundwork, looking at roughly 189,000. Softball field, similarly, 116,000, smaller in area. And then lastly, 3 new basketball courts. If we were to extend the asphalt playground, that could be upwards of $280,000. So all that number crunching, looking at the entire campus, there could potentially be an overall need of roughly $42 million worth of work. Again, this is kind of brainstorming, it's master planning. This is just thinking of identifying all the needs that are known to the district at this time, and then providing, I think of this as like an a la carte menu to give you an idea of what these could potentially cost.
Question for the structures on the outside. Are bleachers included in this? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he shook, okay. That's how he shook his head, yes.
I hope
before,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, they are.
Just because it's been a while that we were looking at the master plan, I don't recall seeing baseball field and softball field in that initial plan. Not saying I'm against it, but did we have a set, more or less, an idea of priorities of what we would like to have done first?
I mean, it's not happening.
So I think that's still up in the air.
Mhm.
As part of the master plan, we did go through priorities, but again, I believe that was 2-3 years ago at this point. And it's always, I think of it as a living document. So we go through the studies. Reality is, as school years, we transition from year to year, those needs or priorities may change. And it's okay to revisit, adjust things. And then if you're curious, we have 3 more slides and we'll kind of glaze over. We've done kind of initial studies on potential floor plans. So this would be the new gymnasium. The large block in the center, of course, is the basketball court, the athletic facilities. This would include retractable bleachers indoors. So you can roll them out when seating is needed. You can tuck them away when you need more floor area. The left-hand side would be all of the student staff only PE facilities for boys and girls locker rooms, as well as boys and girls restrooms, PE staff offices, janitorial closets, storage closet. I know there's quite a bit of equipment and fun things that are used for the PE classes. So that would all be on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side would be more of the front of house restrooms for community for visitors. And this would be located directly off of the large parking lot for easy access. So it's not tucked in the back corner of your campus. Next slide, please. Oh, it's large. I don't know a rough calc off the top of my head, but probably upwards of 600-800, if not more. Yeah, very large. It's adequately sized for middle school level.
We're at
Yep.
811 students. I'm just thinking, can I do a full school assembly in the
So that was one of the discussions that we had also, that we want to make sure that it can accommodate like your assemblies and things like that. Because obviously that would be a perfect use for it during the day, so.
Okay. Next slide, please, Sean. Okay, this would be a potential new administration building. Essentially having your reception area in the front, closest to your parking lot for ease of access for parents and visitors. It would have a dedicated nurse or health aide office with its own restroom, a large kind of workroom for teacher prep that could also be used as a meeting room for larger groups, and then several dedicated private offices that could also potentially be, you know, pull-out spaces or one-on-one type of meeting rooms, plenty of open workspace, prep counters down the middle, lots of cabinet storage, as well as a staff lounge and a larger conference room. And then,
Can we move back with just one?
sure, yeah.
So part of our thought process in looking at this particular design is that currently in a lot of our campuses, we have larger classroom space that could be utilized for housing students that's having to be utilized for some of the pull-out classes and, you know, ones and twos here and there. So by looking at this design, that gives us a lot more flexibility and a lot of opportunity to utilize the space much better, which would free up all that space on campus. So now we can accommodate the additional students that we're going to be having.
When you mean like those pull out, more like resource, right?
Correct, yeah.
OT and all that.
OT, yeah, exactly. Speech, all that.
Okay, and then this plan here is looking at the potential SPED classroom wing. So we would have, we're looking at, again, working with the SPED department, we're showing 4 SDC or special day classrooms. Each one of those would have its own immediate single occupancy restroom within the classroom, so direct immediate access. On the right-hand side, you see kind of a strip of restrooms. That would be boys and girls restrooms as well as staff restrooms. And then on the left-hand side, there are, what are they, resource rooms? Let me see here. Resource rooms. And there would be kind of two separated rooms per, I think of it as like an overall classroom with 2 little separate resource room areas allocated inside. Any questions, comments?
And then by strategically placing this close to the parking lot area in the front, that also allows us to accommodate all of the, you know, contracted out services that we're having. What is it? Yeah, it's, I can't remember the name of it, Joni, but it's the one that's in room 34 right now that does our therapy and everything, and they come in. So it'll allow easy drop off and pickup for all the students that, you know, get brought in for that.
Okay. Well, thank you. We're good?
How long are the estimates good for?
That's good.
The sooner we act, the better. So roughly anticipate escalation of 6% per year. So reality is each year you put this off, costs continue to rise. But what you're looking at now is essentially good for a year within reason. Yeah, and again, we try to be very conservative in the cost estimates. With the 35% soft cost, that does include escalation, so.
And in order for a project to make it through the whole process that the state has set up, it usually takes 1.5 to 2 years to get through that. So you can pretty much bet that it's going to be about a 12% increase on your original cost estimate before the project ever gets started.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we get out of here, though, I want to throw something out. Jennifer, in regards to some of those seeds that didn't get planted, I want you to know they already have been planted. They just haven't started growing yet. Okay, we've got, we're going to be painting Delray, the entire school this summer. Thanks to the board's approval of the consent item tonight. We'll be replacing gutters on all of our portable classrooms at Shalom Peaks and at Delray as a start. And then we will also be installing a new marquee at Delray. So some of the seeds that are planted that will grow, and you'll see the results of it.
Thank you. Yep. Some things just take time. So thank you.
Moving on to our second information item, local indicators for the California dashboard presentation.
So this is our annual required report to you of our local performance indicators that you will see presented on the dashboard when the dashboard comes out in the fall. So I will let Mrs. Carr and Dr. Ruby present the information to you.
Good evening. Each year, the local performance indicators that are reported on the California dashboard are required to be presented to the governing board on the same meeting agenda that the LCAP will be voted on for approval. The indicators are then submitted to the dashboard this year by the end of July for publication to the general public in October. Next slide. The dashboard includes both data that are generated at the state level for items such as the annual CASP and LPAC data, as well as these local indicators that you see up here. The indicators are part of the accountability system that reflects on the local control, helps us measure progress for stakeholder engagement, and helps inform us in the LCAP process. Next slide. So priority 1, basic services. The first 3 are basically appropriately assigned teachers, curriculum aligned materials, and safe and functional facilities. Next slide. So this is how we are scoring in these categories. Our teacher assignments are at 73.3%, which is just a little bit, I believe last year it was 73.0, so we're making that increase continuously. And that's basically on making sure that we have teachers' positions filled. And then we have the instructional materials, which is where they report this as how many students are lacking access to copies of school, what they need for their curriculum, and we got a 0%, which is excellent. And then the school facilities is when we did the FIT report, you get a report on schools that don't meet good repair. We had one school that met that criteria at Delray, but the work has already been completed, so it is currently in good repair. Next slide. Priority 2, implementation of state standards. This is where we use a self-reflection tool. That's basically a comprehensive assessment of progress in providing professional learning and instructional materials that are aligned to the state academic standards. Go ahead. So this is where we're rated under the professional learning section. This priority is a self-rated internally. The rating reflects implementation from the beginning to exploring and planning for implementation across the content areas, all the way to fully implemented and sustainable. So the 5 would be that top category of fully implemented and sustainable. 4 would be fully implemented. So as you can see up there, we have all categories in the 4, with math being moved to the 5. The changes that we had are based on, we've had extensive professional learning around standards-based learning for math, as well as our professional learning network with MCOE in the county, all directed around math. So we felt like there was an extra boost towards that work with math. The other subjects all have full implementation, but we still want more support in those areas for professional learning to feel that we're comfortable in saying it's also sustainable. Next slide. Also in priority 2, implementation of state standards. This is where we're ranking on the instructional materials being aligned with the recently adopted academic standards. And we have scored ourselves as a 5 in English language arts, English language development, mathematics, next generation science standards, and a 4 in history and social science. And this is mainly just because we're just finishing our 2nd year of that pilot. So to feel like that it's a sustainable process, we want the teachers to have a little bit more time working with the curriculum, but everything is aligned with the state standards. Additionally, just wanted to note that next year we will be piloting our math programs for the coming year with an intent to implement whichever program is adopted in that following year of the 27-28 school year. And then at the same time, we would start the adoption piloting process for our English language arts and ELD programs too. So at that point, you might see a shift in those 2 categories back to the 4 as we build the capacity. Next slide. This slide is around the local educational agencies' progress in implementing policies and programs to support staff in identifying areas where they can improve and deliver instruction aligned to the recent adopted academic standards and frameworks. So in ELA, we have scored a 5, English language development of 5, and mathematics of 5, with the next generation science standards and history both scoring in a 4. With our standards-based learning proficiency scales and our pre and post assessment work, that's helping to support the teachers in this work of being able to identify where they need support and what to do to improve. The reason we put a 4 for NGSS and history is just because these are newer programs that we're still looking. While there are regular practices in place, personally, I felt that to reach a 5, we need to look at more ways that teachers can use self-reflection and find tools to help guide them through the work. And the next slide. This is where we rate the local educational agencies' progress in implementing each of the following academic standards adopted by the State Board of Education. As an elementary district, we do not have career technical education and world language classes or requirements. So under health education, physical education, and visual and performing arts, we ranked a 4. Next slide. Under this slide, we have the LEA's success at engaging in the following activities with teachers and school administrators during the prior school year, including the summer preceding the prior school year. And basically here, through surveys, grade level reflection, feedback, admin feedback, we gather information regarding professional development. We used surveys of interest and feedback on already scheduled professional learning this past year, was used to make adjustments for the next school year. And even actually some of the days that we had towards the end of the year, we took that information into account and made adjustments to what the plans were. We also used input from our teacher interviews during our program review cycle that we did with West Ed. And additionally, our shift in the work our instructional coaches do has supported and will continue to support the individual teachers as well as grade level teams.
And priority 3 is family engagement. Next slide, please. So the first category is building relationships. So this is looking at the use of Parent Square, our liaisons, and I rated all of these at a full implementation. I wasn't comfortable going with full implementation with sustainability because we know that that is something that reaching out to parents, getting parents attention and getting them to attend is still something that we're working on. So I wasn't comfortable with calling that sustainable yet. But we have been making progress year after year as far as the full implementation of building relationships with parents, creating opportunities for more parents to be engaged. Next slide, please. Building partnerships with for student outcomes. So I actually left these the same as last year, not because we haven't made progress, but because we just haven't made those next categories. So this coming school year, there will be a large emphasis on the professional learning component to support teachers and principals in building partnerships with families. And as far as the other 3, again, we're at full implementation, but not quite to the sustainability level yet. And the last one, seeking input. We know that we need to improve this area. We need to find other ways of getting input. We have been growing with receiving information and getting parent surveys filled out, but we have work to do. We've talked about even with the LCAP input of different ideas that we can start trying to put in place to try to get more parent participation and get surveys in the hands of parents one way or another. So we're just continuing to build that. As with all things, especially when we're talking about people and building relationships, there's a lot of trust that has to be built, and we know that, and that doesn't come quickly. So as we do improve in these areas, I hesitate to push us to the sustainability category of a 5, because we're just not quite there, but we are growing year after year. So next slide. School climate. We had good growth in this area this year. So for this is the elementary, and just a couple to highlight. So we have, as you can see, 897 students that responded. Last year we had 559. So we sent the survey out. I believe it was originally a request that Terry had made of putting the surveys out in the fall as well. We did end up getting a lot more results from parents and students and staff for that matter. And so some of the highlights, we had a significant amount of growth in My School Wants Me to Do Well. And we also had fairly large growth with Teachers Treat Me with Respect. So these numbers are all improvements over last year, which is what we want to see. Next slide, please. And we'll see middle school. So again, middle school, we have 1325 that responded. Last year we had 575, so much larger responses. We had significant growth when it came to the I feel connected to others at my school. And again, we had significant growth with I know an adult at school that I can talk to if I need help. So these are areas that I think all the schools would be proud to have that growth. We want our students to know that we're there for them and that we want them there. And so those are the numbers that we like to see.
So priority 7 is access to a broad course of study. Next slide. And on this, basically access to a broad course of study. These are the locally selected measures and tools that we use. We have PowerSchool, which helps us to measure attendance, class schedules, and report cards, and grading in general. Performance Matters, we use it for achievement and targeted services. And then CERAs and schedules, we have services provided, accommodations, and we also have bell schedules. Next slide. Under this area, we have, this is basically access, implementation, and monitoring. So we basically have extent of access. All students have access to the broad course of studies. Identifying barriers. What we've identified is credentialing requirements of new teachers can create barriers. And ensuring access, we have financial incentives for additional certification and close monitoring of all teacher credentialing happening. Just going back to that one slide really quickly, when we're looking at the credentialing requirements of new teachers, a lot of that is also supported through our instructional coaches, as has been talked about a lot with Jackie Sabala and the work that she and Blake Burgess have been doing with our new teachers to support them clearing their credentials. And finally, in conclusion and future outlooks, the local indicators are included as part of the LCAP as well as on the dashboard. And then we have the next steps are the LCAP alignment and our state reporting that we will submit to the dashboard and then share with you when it comes out again next year. And that is the conclusion.
Any questions or comments from the audience or the board?
First of all, we apologize for the jet engine of air system that we currently have. I'm thankful for the measuring that you did. You were real with it. And yeah, we haven't gone there yet, but we're on the way to full implementation. So I'm grateful they actually put the numbers as it is. And yes, I was trying to remember what it was that I requested. There's so many things I request, right? But yes, I did want more or less like a comparison of how kids felt at the beginning of the school season or the school year versus how are they feeling now towards the end of the school year. And it was having both from elementaries as well as CPMS. So that did bring it to light. It is, I know, difficult to bring in comparisons though, when we're talking about numbers, because I mean, I'm grateful that they submitted more, but I know it'll be hard just to put it in stats because the numbers of surveys will be different from beginning towards the end. But thank you for doing that though.
Thank you. Our last information item is board direction for the unification, right?
So as we've been discussing and as we've been sharing in updates, the state board hearing is scheduled for July 8th and 9th in Sacramento. The agenda is not out yet. We anticipate that it should be out, I would think, by the end of next week because you can typically see it about 2 weeks or so, but we also have the 4th of July holiday, so I'm gambling on that perhaps that means they'll get it out a little sooner. Once that agenda comes out, we'll be able to see whether the unification item is on the 8th or the 9th. But we were notified back last week that when it comes to that state board item on the agenda, the county office and then each of the 3 districts will have time to speak before the state board. So very similar to the public hearings that we had earlier this spring. And so the direction that we're looking for is who you're going to be sending to speak in Sacramento. And then obviously the messaging will be worked out from there, but it's 5 minutes. So similar to we had last time. The board presidents for the high school and Greenfield at this point. I've been told that they will be attending. Obviously, the superintendents, although the high school superintendent will be remote, she'll have to be remote that day. The county office obviously will have their representatives there as well. The high school district does not intend on having their attorney there. Greenfield will have their attorney present. I reached out to our attorney last week, asking him about his availability and letting him know that I would be asking you for direction so that I would know whether or not I was going back, and then asking him if he to attend. I received an auto reply because I was hoping I could at least know his availability. And I received an auto reply that he was out of the office for about a week and a half. So he actually doesn't return till tomorrow. So I do not know his availability. But if you direct me to ask him to attend, I will do so. So we need to know who you're wanting to have speak, who's attending, just give the direction, and I will complete that task for you.
So we were gonna go ahead and either under board communication and or future planning, we were gonna go ahead and add 2 regular board meetings. First one for June 22nd, starting at 5. Second for June 24th, starting at 4:30. Based on the outcome of those meetings, we will have much more direction to give you, and that's why we're kind of giving them back to back so that we can know more ahead of time than waiting for like the 7th, because when we were trying to fit in these dates, that was a potential worst case scenario date. So still leaving that flexibility in case, for whatever the reason be, that we might still need additional meetings after these for 2 that we just suggested. But we do anticipate having more so some kind of a direction once those meetings have come and gone.
Okay, perfect. And so you want this as an item on those agendas as well for giving direction, so that you can give, and if you don't have any to give at that time, fine.
Yes,
But-
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any other input under that item from any board members, or questions, comments from the audience? No?
But I know you say you received an automatic reply, but it still would be good to know if he would be available for those dates. So
Pardon me,
keep on
Bill?
reaching out to legal to see if he would be
Yes,
available for those
yes.
dates.
I've reached out. I just don't have a response because he's out of the office.
You'll have an update for us when we have an update for
Exactly.
you. Okay, so with no further input from the audience and our board, right? Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll move on to our action items. Our first action item is approval of school calendars for the 2027-2028 school year.
So the bargaining units have completed their voting process, and before you is the calendar that was selected for 27-28 for your approval.
Okay, is there any questions or comments from the board and or audience? Okay, having no input for discussion, I'll go ahead and bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move to approve action item A, approval of the school calendar for the 27-28 school year.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Action item B, approval of facilities lease agreement with Crown Property Management.
So the district is seeking authority from the board to enter into a lease agreement with Crown Properties Management. And that facility that we're looking at is the intent to house our expanded learning opportunities program. And the district is recommending that the board authorize that, but I understand that this is a conversation that you would like to have, so I welcome any questions or concerns that the board may have about this.
Now open for discussion from the board and or audience, or to the board and or audience. So any questions or comments?
Unfortunately, I am not ready to take action on this particular item in itself. I would like for it to be moved. I know we need space. I just feel for transparency and just to be honest, I personally just want to see exactly what is that we have available in regards to facilities as a whole before I come to an end conclusion that this is the only outlet that we do have currently. So not saying this won't be, a possibility, but I still want to explore other avenues. And if nothing is available that we see that will work for us, we are looking at $100,000 just to start-ish, close to that. Again, I would just like to explore other options that we may have if there is any. And if there's nothing that comes about it, then we can go ahead and look into it again.
Any other questions or comments from the audience or board? So Terry, are you wanting to have the vote or are you making a request that? Oh, okay.
Said, we're requesting for the building. You guys have learned, with all the other board meetings that we've had, from teachers to everything, the ELOP has expanded immensely from even the beginning of the year and how many employees are involved. I mean, it touches everybody in our district, from MOTF to food service to payroll to everybody that is here at the district. And if you are ever here during, as I like to say, my Amazon time, it happens like 3 times, maybe 4 times a year, right? And so if you've ever been in this building, we get hundreds and hundreds of boxes that are being delivered here that we have to look through, that we have to take inventory of. And I work in the hallway, like wherever it is that we can get. And so we need space to be able to house all that stuff. We're growing out of our C trains that we have at every site because we have so many different programs that are going, right? Because not everything's a consumable. So we reuse some of the items that we have, but we're running out of space. Every year, we're having more and more students that are being involved in our program. So that means we need to order more things. Not only that, we want to be able to facilitate and store more food, right? Because we're providing snacks for kids, but food service doesn't have the storage to be able to provide because our program is growing. And if we had this, I guess, and it's right across. So, and I mean, it would help us immensely to be able to help us with storage and growing and not having everything be here because we don't have anywhere else to get our stuff delivered because this is where the ELOP staff is and we're the ones who are going through that and we don't have any other place to be able to deliver. And that's part of it. So I would want you to take that under consideration.
Thank you. Any more input, comments, questions from the audience and or board?
Have we ever considered something about buying, like a more of a long-term scenario? Just because the fact is that we're using ELP funds, and I know that we have to use them up. But something that I've also been saying is, let's buy things that we can use long-term and not spend them on that
Yeah.
moment.
So we were considering purchasing like portable classrooms and placing them at the site. I'll make it closer. So in the beginning, we were quite a bit smaller, and like Patty said, we are rapidly expanding. But in the beginning, one of the considerations were purchasing a portable classroom or 2 in order to house this. The issues with that are they're backlogged for like a year or 2 in order to be able to purchase an actual portable classroom. as you notice with some of our other projects, it feels like they're delayed. They're not delayed. It just takes that long to go through the process to have to, even with purchasing a portable classroom, you still have to go through all of the same steps that you do when you're building a new classroom or a new building. You have to hire an architect and an engineer. You have to go through the state architect processes and stuff. The cost of a portable classroom is upwards of $200,000. That's the very, very, bottom, just buying the shell, but then all of the associated costs that Carrie was talking about are also attached with buying a portable classroom as well. So it's not a quick and easy fix. There's no quick and easy fix when it comes to facilities. Every avenue that we're looking at, putting a building on our property that we already own is going to be at least 2 years from the start and is going to be at least more than $200,000. So 200 would be the very, very starting point. That's how much it costs to build a parking lot. That's how much it costs to buy like a portable restroom that has maybe 4 toilets in it. So anything more than that, the cost is more and it takes longer. So it was considered, that was considered in addition to some other ideas that we have thought about over the last 2 years since I've been here. The need has rapidly expanded as well. When I first started, ELOP was very, very new. And we were just having money kind of thrown at us and we were just trying to respond to it. And as the programs have grown and the sources that we're doing for the students have grown and become more popular, the need for space has just grown exponentially. And so we need something quicker rather than later. And let me just say that the need is great at this point, right? We need to hire new staff. We don't have a place to house new staff, but it's a need now. So we do need to find a way to be able to do that quickly.
And that was my next question. Currently, how many staff members do we have in the ELOP program? And how many are we going to be adding and how soon are we going to be adding those positions?
I'm going to ask the experts on who we currently have.
So currently we have Patty, Evelyn, our account tech, and Sarah, our program secretary. Patty would like to hire another program secretary sooner rather than later. And as we continue going through and we start another school year and we've already started getting the applications for next year and we have more staff that want to participate in clubs, which is probably going to lead to another account clerk need as well. So as Joni said, this building not only offers space for items, but office space, because if we need to add 2 more employees right now, Patty and Sarah share an office, and then we have Evelyn in the business office. And so if we're going to hire 2 more people, we need space for 2 people because they can't fit any more people in theirs.
That building houses how many?
Joni, what are the office spaces?
We could have dedicated offices for 5 people. And then there are also other rooms that could be utilized as like flex type rooms for meetings, or we had some ideas on how we can utilize this one room. But I was trying to give them some autonomy and not plan everything about the building.
Just for clarification, I wasn't here at the last one. I know that initially this building, we were talking about the Family Resource Center. So
Correct.
the reason transitioning from one to another?
The side of the building?
Right.
Transitioning from
So-
over here, because it makes, I guess before the reason it was being brought forward was because it was initially going to house the Family Resource Center as well as portions of ELOP.
So,
there's 2
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
go ahead.
Initially, it was not for that. So it was an added, when I spoke to Dr. Ruby about hey, this is something that I'm looking into, because we were talking about purchasing portable classrooms. It was not the larger side of the building that we were looking at. It was a smaller side of the building, and it was specifically for ELOP so that we can house the people who are currently there, plus hire new staff. And my main point of contacting our landlord in order to rent was because there are 2 large bays with storage area. And it was a bonus that there was offices at that time. After speaking with Dr. Ruby, she said, at that point, we have an opportunity now to open a family resource center. And what's the likelihood of being able to house that there as well? So in continued conversations with our landlord, asking, could we look at the larger side of this building instead of the smaller side? Because we do now see need for more space than what we had initially reached out for. That was a conversation that we had for a little while. I think we probably a month or 2, we talked about that, and we even looked at some floor plans for it. When we were able to locate rooms in our current campus at KCAM that would house the Family Resource Center, that is when, at that point in time, we said, now we have a good plan for that. We actually can take smaller space. We don't need the larger space. And that smaller space is physically attached to the bays, so our staff can walk in and out of those bays without having to exit the building and walk through the parking lot. So it worked better for us as a district to be able to have the smaller offices that are attached directly to the bays, and it worked better for Crown Property so that they weren't, their office staff were not sitting right next to those bay doors and having to listen to them open and close all day long, and have our staff kind of encircling them. So it was a multi-step process, but it landed on how it was presented to you.
I also want to add, one of the concerns on campuses, and I completely understand looking at campuses and our construction, but just as we have the concern with the food service issue and delivery trucks that we're addressing with our, what we're looking at Santa Lucia, is as we're looking for space for ELOP, the deliveries are going to continue to come during the school day. And so we're also looking at what is the safest situation for our students as far as delivery trucks on school campuses. So whether we were looking to purchase down the road, that placement issue is another piece. And so obviously we don't have a concern with students in this location.
Hearing Terry's request and the need. Since we're having to have a meeting set for, are we having a regular meeting in July as well? I believe we are, right? We're having to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so say that since we're having to be here in a month, would it be, trying to play mediator here, still getting it done before the start of next year, but at the same time giving your request for thorough analysis of what's out there? Is that sufficient for you, Terry, or?
Yeah.
And I'm just, you know, or what are, or how does the rest of the board feel? Well, it wouldn't be tabling it. It would be bringing it back. But, yeah, so are you, Wendy? Terry? Joni, would it be okay for you guys to bring that back for our July meeting that we're gonna vote on later on today?
I just want to disclose to you that I will not be here for your July meeting, so I won't be able to participate with that.
Would you be able to provide the information required for the board to, at that point?
I'd be happy to provide you with information.
Thank you. Good. Okay. But is that okay with, or is there any other input from any other members of the audience? Okay, so we will revisit this topic and this item in our July meeting. Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to our action item C, approval of the 2026-2027 LCAP and annual updates.
So last meeting, we presented the overview. Tonight, we have the final draft for your approval that then is sent to the County Office of Education for their approval. The changes that were made since last week were some more budget updates, as well as completing the narrative sections related to what was budgeted for our actions and goals versus what is anticipated to be the final amounts.
Is there any questions or comments from board or audience? Okay, having no input, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move to approve action item C, approval 2026-2027 LCAP and annual update.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Moving on to action item D, approval of the 2026-2027 budget.
So the district is seeking authority from the board to actually approve the budget as it was presented in our public hearing last week for 26-27.
Okay, is there any questions or comments from the audience or board? I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Move to approve action item D, approval 2026-27 budget.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Action item E, approval of application for provisional internship permit.
Okay, so this is the same type of permit that you've approved in the past. Our new TK teacher comes to us with actual preschool teaching experience and holds the permits from the preschool world, but has not completed her multiple subject teaching credentials. So this is allowing her to be employed under what we call a PIP.
Any questions or comments from members of the audience or board? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move to approve action item E, approval of application for provisional internship permit.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh.
Did I say?
You did now, so yes, you did. Action item F, approval of MOU with CSCA Chapter 494, Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Incentive.
So this MOU with CSCA is essentially an extension of the current MOU that we have for them to be able to classified unit members to be able to assist in running the after-school clubs. And it's extending it to next school year, to the end of next school year.
Any questions or comments from the board or audience? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move to approve action item F, approval of MOU with CSEA Chapter 494, Expanded Learning Opportunities Program.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Action item G, approval of MOU with CSCA Chapter 494, Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Incentive for Leader.
This MOU is similar in the one that you just passed, and except that it's for a classified unit member to lead an after-school club.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience or board? Having none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move to approve action item G, approval of MOU with CSEA Chapter 494, Expanded Learning Opportunities Program Incentive Leader.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to action item H, approval of sunshine item, joint public disclosure for initial bargaining proposal for 2026-2027 with CSEA Chapter 494.
So essentially, this joint public disclosure is in order to open for negotiations our 26-27 school year as a part of the tentative agreement that we have come to with CSEA for negotiations this year.
Any questions or comments from the board or audience? Having none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve action item H, approval of sunshine item, joint public disclosure of initial bargaining proposals for 2026-2027 with CSEA Chapter 494.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Action item I, approval of tentative agreement with CSEA Chapter 494, including a on-schedule salary increase of 3% retroactive to July 1st, 2025, and a 2% on-schedule salary increase starting July 1st of this year.
I am happy to announce that the district has come to a tentative agreement with CSEA, and that is to have a salary schedule increase of 3% retroactive to the beginning of this fiscal year and a 2% increase beginning July 1st of 26-27 school year.
Is there any questions or comments from the audience or board? Having none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move to approve action item I, approval of tentative agreement with CSEA Chapter 494, including a on-schedule salary increase of 3% retroactive to July 1st, 2025, and a 2% on-schedule salary increase starting 7/1/2026.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to action item J, approval of resolution 2025-2026-15 to authorize signers for financial institution accounts effective July 1st.
This item, as well as the next item, are both to remove Cinda Maslowski and myself as signatories due to our retirement and add Arlen Espinosa, who will be replacing Cinda.
Is there any questions or comments? Having none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Move to approve action item J, approval of resolution 2025-26-15 to authorize signers for financial institution accounts effective July 1st, 2026.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to action item K, approval of resolution 2025-2026-16, authorize agents to sign school orders effective July 1st. As Jennifer mentioned, it's just to change the authorized individuals. Is there any questions or comments from the board and or audience? Having none, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
I move to approve action item K, approval of resolution 2025-26-16, authorize agents to sign school orders effective July 1st, 2026.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Action item L, approval to amend the regular scheduled board meeting calendar to include a meeting in July.
As requested, you have before you an amendment to your regular scheduled board meeting calendar to allow you to conduct all of your regular business in the month of July if needed. And you see the 3 Tuesdays in July presented for you to select from.
Okay. So what works for everyone?
Wouldn't it be best if we do the 7th?
We can. I mean, yeah, we can if it works for everyone. if we're thinking about the unification meeting, I think that it would still be covered even if, but no, I see your point. But yeah, I guess the 7th would be ideal. Does the 7th work for everybody? It will, I'll make it work for me. Okay, so it looks like we are settling on July 7th. And what is, right, let me just ask start time for everyone. Terry? What is a good ideal start time for everyone? It shouldn't be a long meeting. It's too close after 4th of July. There's plenty of leftover fireworks. It's not even a jinx, it's a fact. 5:30?
Mine would be 5:30.
5:30, okay. And it shouldn't be that long of a meeting considering there's only gonna be possibly 2 action items. Okay, so it looks like a 5:30 start time. So for that, I will bring it
Just
back.
a quick
Oh.
question. So we have 2 regular board meetings in June,
Mhm,
and then, no, they're regular. They were gonna be regular ones.
mhm.
So then I would have to make the motion now?
Because what your attorney gave me to agendize for you was adjusting a regular board meeting.
Special board meetings, these are, these, yeah, these can be special board meetings.
Special board meetings ain't gonna happen because you didn't agenda.
Yeah, I think she meant special and she said regular. Mhm. But,
That's why you have this one on this.
yeah, that's.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to
that's
get
the one-
clarification because we were under
That's
the
the one that
impression. Yeah.
needs to be regular.
Yeah,
right.
so that's why I want to just get clarification because it was
Mhm.
portrayed as a regular, not special.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So special board meetings, 22nd and 24th. Regular board meeting, July 7th for conducting regular board meeting business, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you give us a start time for the 22nd and 24th?
Yes. The 22nd, 5 PM, the 24th, 4:30. 4:30. Okay. Let me write this one down. Okay, so I'll bring it back to the board for a motion to approve a regular board meeting for regular board business for July 7th at 5:30.
I move to approve action item L, approval to amend the regular scheduled board meeting calendar to include a meeting for July 7th, 2026 at 5:30 as a regular board meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on to communication from board members.
Quick and easy. I had graduation. I was able to attend graduation. I wasn't able to attend to the other, had a lot of things going on. But overall, just thank you, Jennifer, for all these years. Cinda as well. You were my director for special ed when I was a parent there, so thank you guys. And I mean, I wish you guys nothing but the best.
I like how she made it seem like it was her. Oh. Let me pass it.
So I just want to say thank you for all your years of service, 33 years. You're a clear example of starting from, stop it, from starting from below, starting from the bottom and working your way up. That is, just gives others the motivation to continue what they are doing and that they can reach that. Like you said, you didn't see yourself being in this position, that yet here you were, right? And I'm just grateful for always having an open door. Your times that you're off, at least for my part. But again, it's just, it's not easy. You could say being the face of a district, coming to the end now, facing unification and the times that you have been out there forefront for our district. I'm grateful because we were, like you said, thrown into this, yet you stood your ground and what you could do. We can only control so much, right? But from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all your years of service. And just thank you for being who you are. Don't change. I am personally grateful for who you are. So you're going to be around the area anyways. And remember, you can always be a part of our committee. We're looking for people. So if you want to join, and again, it's just, I feel here within the district, you will always be welcome. So thank you.
She said she was gonna go ahead and, speak for you, and then I said I'll speak for Cinda, and then I told Cinda I'm gonna go do it on the mic. I tried to give you the mic. And I'll go ahead and so same, I wanna go ahead and thank you, Jennifer, also for your years of service, from the start to finish. I've had the honor of sitting up here and seeing your various titles the hats you wore. So it was a shared experience. Your growth was a shared experience for all of us, watching you in the different dynamic roles that you maneuvered through in this district and the services for our students and families. So for that, thank you eternally. Cinda, there's so much to say, and yet I can't say most of it. But I mean, it might be the last meeting where we have some like faces in here. So, yeah, I mean, same. I saw you from back in Delray days to being able to see how you've been able to come and just aid us all. You really did provide support for us all as a board. And I mean, I truly felt the difference when you came on as far as the support that was given to us board members. So thank you for your tireless dedication, your patience. Even when it doesn't seem like she's had patience, she's had patience. Thank you both for your services. Thank you for your dedication to our district, our families, students, community, and for all the years and time spent together. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you both lots of blessings, lots of happiness, a little envious of all the free time you're going to get to have with your families and just the travels. But nonetheless, I wish you guys the best, and I hope you enjoy your retirement. So, thank you. Any other communicate? Oh, you know what? But now back to end of the year stuff. I did get to go to some of the end of the year things, the DLI ceremonies and the kindergarten. That was a different experience. But it was, you can't really not be happy to see like little kids dancing, singing, and just being happy. And then, that joy that you get to identify with the parents and that, a pride as a parent. So I can relate. I could identify it when I see those proud parents in the audience. We had our middle school promotion, and I will say that I do appreciate the layout much better. I feel like it helps a little with the breeze. So if we can move forward with the same kind of format, if that's where we're going to continue to have our promotions, it would be nice to have that. And if they would have added that fan, and maybe crack some of those doors just like yay high, is it going to be built by next year? But no, yeah, it was just a really neat end of the year experience. Got to go to some of the campuses and do a final kind of like walkthrough. So for this school year at least, but that was a nice experience. So I wanted to put that out there. That's all that I have to communicate. Sounds like, Wendy, no? No? All right. So it sounds like I'll go ahead and restate the dates. Our advanced planning, we have added 2 special board meetings, June 22nd at 5, as well as June 24th at 4:30. We went ahead and added a regular board meeting for July 7th at 5:30. Our August regular board meeting will be the 18th. That concludes our meeting. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Have a happy and safe summer. For those of you that do want to be here next week, we'll see you next week. With that said, I'll entertain a motion.
To adjourn.
Good night.